Yo, I know it's been, nah, that's Peter McKinney shit. What? I know it's been 2 months since I've uploaded a video onto my channel, and I apologize, but I've been very busy shooting music videos, trying to get my things together. You know, I recently got a Ronin, if y'all can see the Ronin there. Got a Ronin, got this lens, everything. I just wanted to, like, you know, get everything in order, shoot a couple music videos, and, you know, also work on myself. But now I'm back. Every Tuesday, I expect a video to come out from me. Let's just dive into this video. I don't want to be talking too much. So this video is about 5 mistakes every beginning filmmaker makes. All these mistakes are mistakes that I've went through. You know, I'm not any better. I still make mistakes every day. But these ones were the 5 mistakes that I made when I first started out. The 5th one is more so like a tip, something that you have to look out for. You know, even if you're not a beginner, I mean, this is a tip that anyone, experienced or not experienced, should look at. But yeah, let's dive into the video. Let's dive into the first one. So the first one is frame rate and shutter speed. Okay, let's say I'm shooting at 24 frames per second. My shutter speed has to be double the frame rate I'm shooting at. So if I'm shooting at 24 frames per second, my shutter speed has to be 1/40th of a second. Or on Canon cameras, they don't have 1/48th of a second. So you put it at like 1/50th of a second. So if I'm shooting at 60 frames per second, my shutter speed has to be double 60, which is 120th of a second. So you always have to double your frame rate double your frame rate and use that number shutter speed. Bruh, shit. Always shoot above that number. I highly recommend that you never drop below that number, because then everything is just gonna look like, you know, when you take your phone and you go outside and it's dark and it's just gonna look like that, and it's really terrible. So the next mistake is playing back your clips on any frame rate above 25 or 24. You know, so people will usually play back at 60 frames per second. You know, I totally understand, because when I was there, you know, I play video games, so any frame rate above 60 is sick. You know, it's sick to have anything play back at 60 frames or 128 frames per second. But games and video, they're totally different things, you know. So playing your video back at 60 frames per second really makes your video whack. You know, I don't know, music videos especially, you know, I've seen it a lot on my Instagram, you know, people playing back their clips in 60 frames per second. It looks, I don't know, it makes my eyes wobble. I don't know, it makes my brain do something else, because I don't know, it just doesn't look really nice, you know. But I totally understand, because when you're at that stage, you think that the higher the frame rate, the better, and everything like that. But I'm just gonna quickly show you guys like how you can actually play back your clips at 24 frames per second. Okay, so over here I have my Premiere Pro opened, and I've already imported some clips in my project bin. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna create a new sequence. So I come here to File, New, and then Sequence, and then from here I go to Settings, Custom, and then click 24 frames or 23.976, and then obviously here I gotta choose 1920 by 1080p, square pixels, everything. So just make sure that your timeline is at 24 frames per second, and you can change the name for this. I'm just gonna change it to Playback 24. Click OK. So now your timeline is now at 24 frames per second. So now what you want to do now is you want to import your clips. So I shot this at 60 frames per second last time I remember. So I'm gonna come here to modify just to check. Yeah, I shot this at 60 frames per second. So I could drag this into my timeline, and it's gonna put up this message. So I'm just gonna just say keep existing settings. So everything now here is in 24 frames per second. You know, so now that I want to slow this clip down, let me use another clip. I can go to interpret footage, and then here at assume this frame rate is, you can change this into 23.976. You know, so this is gonna make like my clips extra slow. So then I'm gonna click OK, and then now my clip is in slow motion, and it's so slow, it's really nice, and it's in 24 frames per second. that's how you play back your footage in 24 frames per second. So let's jump into the next mistake. So the next mistake is color grading. So color grading can make or break your clip. You can shoot a really nice cinematic little sequence, and then your color grading is off. Then the whole video is off and like everything is ugly. So color grading, I feel like personally, is like on top. It makes your footage, it makes it look really good or really bad. So when I started color grading, like my stuff were like highly contrasted. My blacks were too dark, my highlights were too blown out. Like it was just something else. Color grading, I mean, it's a whole topic on its own. It's not something that you can just like snap on too quick, but then just try and not break your clip and to make it dark and hella bright. But I'll make tutorials also in the near future on color grading or anything like that. But just look into DaVinci Resolve if you're planning into enhancing your color grading. So the next thing on the list is picture profiles. Picture profiles, I would say they're also pretty important. They go link with color grading. If you set the wrong picture profile, like using something like standard portrait or landscape picture profiles on your Canon camera or whatever camera you're using, it already puts color there for you. It already saturates everything for you, sharpens everything for you. So when you want to grade in DaVinci or whatever grading application you use, you can't push the colors too much, because then everything is like basically already done for you. That's already a grade already. I recommend you shoot on something like neutral or cinestyle. I use cinestyle to shoot my music videos or short films or whatever. Right now I'm shooting on neutral though, but I use cinestyle. It's an extremely flat profile and it's free, and I'll leave the link below in the description for you to go download it. I'll also leave a link below on a YouTube video that you can watch on how to install cinestyle onto your camera. So this last mistake is not actually a mistake, it's actually a tip that I think everyone should look out for when you're shooting music videos or when you're shooting anything or you're creating any type of content. Look out for hot trends, them zoom transitions, them in and out shots, them, two cars, bunch of people. I'm gonna take my Ronin and go in and out and shoot a music video throughout the whole thing. I just go in and out. Those are trends, they make you lazy. The zoom transitions was so hot. It was so hot last year. Everyone was zooming into anything. I'm busy writing something, zoom. So it's actually also a good thing to be aware of these trends, because they cool sometimes, but your audience doesn't want to see something that him or she is seeing all over the internet, seeing everyone zoom into mountains, zoom into whatever. So I mean, just be aware of the hot trends. Try and step away from them, especially when you're a beginner. Try not to be in those hot trends. Just try and step away from those hot trends, because then that's how you're going to challenge yourself and that's how you're going to grow creatively. Just try and be different. I know it's hard, but then just try and step out of the trends and come up with something else or do something different. Or I just knocked my camera, but yeah, try and do something different. So that's it for today's video. Please like and subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram, because I also do a lot of stuff there also. And yeah, see you guys again next week, Tuesday. It's so hard to record videos, yo.